Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at ya with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. And a Sunday series for you today. It's going to be a best of 5 between MaSa and Stephano, starting with the game here on Acropolis, the Ladder Edition. Alright, so top left-hand corner is the Canadian Terran player. He is MaSa, and he's sporting the color blue today. And in the bottom right, it's going to be the red Zerg player Stephano, hailing from France. So two countries that have some pretty close ties, right? The Quebecois, the Quebec side of the country of Canada, really into French, really love speaking French. French settlers got over there way back in the day. Man, I want to say the 1400s, 1500s, like many, many long times ago, in at least the history of white people in North America. Obviously, there were people here way before then. Yes, I'm aware of those. Yes, I'm an ignorant American, but I am cognizant of history, because I did actually minor in history in college, so keep that in mind. All right, man, so TVZ here. Stephano hasn't really been at this stage in a while. This is from the WCS Fall Replay Pack. This is the round of 16. I don't think Stephano's made it to the round of 16 in a major WCS event in possibly a year or maybe two. He's a really, really good Zerg player. His macro's insane. His creep spread is very good. But he went to school, went to university, got a degree in some kind of, I want to say, a medical field, which that takes a lot out of you, man, and he was just not practicing as much, wasn't competing as much, and it was natural that he wouldn't be competing as well in these major events, or even really showing up sometimes. So, glad to see that he's back in the action, glad to see he's doing this. I don't know how much longer we're going to see it from him, so enjoy it while you can, Stephano fans. MaSa, on the other hand, really solid, really scary Terran player. His macro is good, his micro is good, his decision-making is through the roof good. He is scouting with an SCV, part of that decision-making I just mentioned. Trying to see, do I need to keep this Reaper at home, or can I send him across the map and try to kill stuff? Now, he sees that the hatchery just popped, and he knows there are lings on the way, but they can't get there in time to stop this command center from completing. This is a fairly large map. So the Reaper's going to move across the map. The Reaper's name is Kool-Aid Man, a glass-shaped abomination filled with the blood of the innocent. Broke through a supply depot. The last thing his victims heard was a simple, "Oh yeah!" How's the Kool-Aid Man "oh yeah" go? I don't know. Can't remember. Either way, hey, check out this third base Stephano's trying to get up. It's not happening, because the SCV, first of all, was blocking it long enough for the Reaper to show up, which is fantastic. The Reaper dodges back around and says, no, he decided to try to kill these lings instead of trying to block this base, which I don't know that I agree with that. His speed, wait, hold on. Is Stephano skipping speed? Stephano is skipping ling speed. There we go. Okay, he just got it started, but that is so late. There will be no pressure today from Stephano, at least not with Zerglings, man. Don't worry about walling this off for some time. If anything shows up, it's going to be roaches. Just because the link speed was delayed for what, though? I guess delayed to get a third base down, and the timing there is pretty nice. Again, it was delayed, however, by the Reaper, so, indeed. I don't know what this means for the mid-game, but I think we're just pretty much standard at this point. How many kills does this Reaper have, actually? Should have. Yeah, he's got a couple there. A couple lings were killed by him because, again, they're slow. Ooh, and he got the drone. So that's pretty good. I mean, killing a drone and a ling on a Reaper, that's a fair trade. I still would have loved to see him block this for longer. Queens could have slow waddled over here to stop that from happening, but it would have been delayed for quite some time. And I think he probably could have still swung back around with the Reaper and killed off that drone that was in the middle of the map and with like 4 HP. Check this action out. That is a fusion core, ladies and gentlemen. We are going to see a battlecruiser opening out of MaSa in game number 1 because it's pretty good against Zerg. However, Zerg players also have a lot of experience against it at this point, and you just have 5 queens versus 1 battlecruiser. You're going to have a good time. Any more BCs than that, you definitely want to get a Spire. You want to get Corruptors out, and Stephano understands how this works. So trying to spread creep, but canceling temporarily. Ooh, he wants to keep these tumors alive. Oh, he has to cancel that one too. Okay, this one's going to go down, which is a nice... No, hang on. He threw it out and then canceled it immediately. This is a pretty good micro, honestly, from both of these players right now. Enjoying it. Creep spread over there, too. Remember what I said about Stephano liking creep spread? He loves creep spread. He's very good at creep spread. A lot of great Zerg players are, but man, Stephano and Scarlet are the two that I most associate with just stupid good creep spread. Hey, diving on in here, boys. We got the Hellions jumping in. Are they going to die? They're going to die back here. There's nowhere for them to go. Maybe one of them will make it out, but never mind. Everyone's dead. For 2 drones, not a fair trade, MaSa. I don't like it. I don't like that you dove in there for 2 drones. You lost all map control. The creep spread will continue unabated and probably make it to your front door in the next couple minutes because of that, so I do not appreciate that. Overlord also scouted your fusion core and your starport with the tech lab and said, ah, a battle cruiser on the way. How surprising. I have no idea how to handle this. Just kidding, I have 7 queens with 2 more on the way, getting ground 1 or carapace level 1 as well as melee level 1 on the upgrades. So far so good. Yamato cannon is on the way. Throwing a couple spores. You do want a couple spores, just kind of anchor the defense on each of your bases here, because queens are going to be running around like willy-nilly, helter-skelter, trying to catch up with his BC. And having a spore, just getting some free shots off, you know, just so the BC doesn't get free shots off on your drones and kill those is definitely worth it. Is that your jump? He jumped over. Okay, well, there's the jump over. And it ends up getting 2 drones and no queens. And it's down to 70 HP, 64 HP. So, yeah, I mean, this is just fun of being ready for it. This will absolutely kill lower-level Zergs. Like, Terran players, learn this build where the battlecruiser shows up around 5.5 minutes. Just jump it over, and if they don't have the requisite number of queens, they will die. That's it. It's that simple. Another base on the way from Stephano. He's got 4 bases to the 3rd base that is floating over from MaSa, so that's pretty good. But, man, that BC opening, he's got 2 kills. 2 kills. All of this for 6 minutes. 2 drones down is not enough. 5 total drones down. What the? Oh, yeah, that's right. 4 plus the 1 out in the middle of the map. Okay, so 5 total drones down. It's just not enough. It's not enough to slow down a macro monster like Stephano is. A bunch more Hellions are out here, so the map control is now back firmly in MaSa's shoes. MaSa's hands? Where does map control live? Probably in his hands, if I had to say. Anyway, MaSa is not Quebecois. So I don't think he speaks much French. Although if you're a Canadian, I think you have to speak at least a little bit of French, right? Even if you live out in Alberta, you're going to learn some French in school and be able to communicate with your fellows out on the eastern section of the country. Been watching a lot of Letterkenny, actually, which is about Canadian Hicks out in Alberta. And they've got their own slang, which I'm not sure how much of it is accurate Canadian slang and how much of it is like made up for the show. Some of the most just talented and clever writing I've ever seen on TV. It is definitely TVMA. It is not for kids. For language, for the most part. I haven't watched the whole thing yet, but I haven't seen like any sex or nudity or anything like that. So if you want to check it out, just keep that in mind. But man, Letterkenny, good stuff for sure. All right, man. So Ling's cruising on up. Is there a 3rd or a 4th base rather? No. And let's go ahead and just say no. Spire is coming in from Stephano. Is he going Ling Bling Muta today? He's got an infestation pit. He's going for that melee attack. And a Spire. I don't see a Baneling nest. Oh, there is a Baneling nest. Okay, so this could just be Ling Bling Muta versus this race car mech that MaSa is going for here with battlecruiser support, interestingly enough. But yeah, it is definitely... You just jumped... 2 battlecruisers just jumped over here to the 4th. Got 4 more drone kills. Again, not worth the cost of the battlecruisers. It's just not. I like how the Banelings are rolling over here like they're going to do anything whatsoever. I think they're setting up for a counterattack is what they're trying to do. And the queens do manage to save the base. Yamato! Baba! They one-shot queens. No way to heal through that. Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot heal through a Yamato shot. Another base coming up for Stephano too. So 5 bases here from the Zerg. Lings and Banelings just begging something to come over here so they can murder it real fast. And there's nothing going to be there for quite some time. Are you still coming in here? Oh, he's going to jump out. He's got the jump. He slow walked him over there. And now he can jump back home. Very sneaky. Very, very sneaky indeed. All right, so Hellions cruising across the map. I assume they can change themselves into Hellbats, as the armory does exist. They're more susceptible to Banelings in that case, though, so I don't think... Oh, he's going to try to surround them. He's going to try to catch the Hellions. No, he didn't do enough to stop them on this side. The blue flame is here, but oh, the Baneling hits. But the blue flame hits. Those are serious business, too. Banelings trying to crash on in to get a Hellion. Probably not a cost-efficient trade there, if you ask me, but that's okay. It kind of kept these guys on this side of the map. A bunch of Hellions went down. And it's the Cyclones that are really important here. Cyclones are the damage dealers. They've got the Magfield Accelerator. Got 6 Corruptors on the way from Stephano. He's just trying to balance his unit production to match what MaSa is going for. And I like it. It's hard to do as a Zerg player. Terrans have a lot of different variations they can pull on this theme. How many battlecruisers do they make? How many Cyclones are there? Hellions kind of just filling in the gaps in the rest of their composition, no question about it. But yeah, you want a bunch of Corruptors, but not too many Corruptors. If you make too many Corruptors, then the ground army wipes you out. So you kill these 3 PCs, but this army shows up and murders your face. You got to have enough to handle this army. Transfusing those queens, transfusing those queens. No queens die to that attack. Although lock-on is pretty good, and one queen does get sniped off by that lock-on ability. Battlecruisers cruising down along the southern section of the map, moving into the main base. There is one spore here that is inadequate, as it turns out. There are corruptors. There have been corruptors in production for a little bit of time here, so there's a few. There are a few. Where the heck did SCVs die? I'm guessing they might have run into here, maybe killed some stuff, but yeah, these guys are going to jump out. They're trying to take down the spawning pool, and they do, and then they jump out. That is a mission accomplished. Some Yamatos on those corruptors to take them on down, and they jumped back home to defend the 4th base, which is going to be a planetary fortress at this point. But yeah, remember what I said about Stephano's creep spread is good. Is really good. If I had this much creep spread at 10 minutes, I would die a happy Zerg. It'd be very pleasing. Alright, we got Hellions, we got Cyclone, Banelings just brought. Engaging on creep, man. I'm telling you, engaging on creep with this is not super great. Look at how close he's sticking to the edge of the creep here. He's killing tumors and then pulling back, killing overlords, pulling back. He knows if he extends way down here, he's going to get surrounded and killed by Lings and Banes. That's what's going to happen. With some queen support. Flyer Carapace level 2 on the way. That helps against those battle cruisers because they have many, many little hits. Well, other than the Yamato, but they have many, many little hits, and each one of those hits is negated by the amount of armor that you have. So anything that has a lot of little hits or a lot of little fast hits, like Marines, like battle cruisers, armor is going to be really good against those units. More battle cruisers in production, and that's not enough Lings to really do anything at all at this point, so that was just a waste of Lings. Banelings cruising on out. Goodbye. 54 Lings in production from Stephano. He's down 40 supply, but again, he's got a ton of Zerglings on the way. +2 missile attack is here, mostly for the queens. I really don't see any roaches or ravagers to benefit from the upgrade at all. It feels like Stephano's army is not very big right now. Of course, a lot of it is in these corruptors, which are defending admirably against these battle cruisers and can almost like 3-volley them down. Oh, it got the Yamato before it got killed, and it jumped out. Ah, that sucks. That was bad news bears for Stephano. Nice timing from MaSa, though. Just incredible stuff. He's got another base coming up here to the north. That's going to be his 5th. I'm liking what we're seeing here from MaSa. He's got a really big, scary, maxed out army. Stephano has to be really cautious, but just bailing on in to these Hellions off creep, whittling them down. Losing Hellions does not bother MaSa. It really doesn't. Hellions are cheap. You can double pump them. Really concerns him with their Cyclones, keeping those alive, as they are not cheap and they cannot be double pumped. 9 more Corruptors on the way. This must be a Broodlord play. He's going to try to go for Broodlords. That's way too many Corruptors, but he doesn't have a Greater Spire. I just feel like he's overmaking Corruptors here. Does he want to have enough to 1-volley down these BCs so they don't have to worry about him? Don't know. I don't know. Overlord's getting picked off by Lock-On. Ooh, he manages to escape there with 3 HP. Which is beautiful. And the Corruptors, once again. Ooh, one BC didn't have a jump, or he would have gotten out of there, I can tell you that much. Wait, none of these guys have jump? Oh, this is really bad for MaSa. Big attack coming on in to the Planetary Fortress base. And off creep, again, not doing a whole lot. Lings that try to hold this army in place against the Blue Flame. All right, that was pretty good. Pretty good explosions from all sides there. A lot of Cyclones go down. There are still a few remaining, but all the battle cruisers went down. For a total, only 2 died? Where'd the rest of them go? Well, here's one. Battle cruisers, where did you go? He's got 5 of them. Oh, 1, 2, 3. Alright, well, they're all here. Suppose. Corruptors going for... Ooh, there you go. That is really good peeing on right there. Using that caustic spray, but there's a reason you don't make planetary fortresses sometimes. At least at your expansions, is because you can't lift off a planetary fortress. So when Corruptors show up, you can't run it away like that Orbital commanded. Very nicely done, honestly. I guess I still feel like this is too many Corruptors. We'll see. I trust Stephano. I trust he knows what he's doing here. Creep spread has kind of halted for a little bit. Stephano has a little bit more going on. He is making a Greater Spire back home and 44 more Zerglings, who do happen to have 2/2, which is nice. +3 attack on the way for those dudes. And just more of the same here from MaSa. He's making 3 battle cruisers at a time, which is interesting considering how many Corruptors he knows that Stephano has. Stephano has a large number of Corruptors, 20 of them. And when there are that many Corruptors, your battle cruisers aren't going to do very well against them. And I kind of feel like if you go for other units, you're in a better position. Am I wrong to say that? If your opponent overmakes battle cruisers, do 2 more just go down over here? They just fly to their deaths. 3 total have gone down thus far. I think that was just 1 they caught killed. Once again, trying to get a surround on here with the Lings and the Banes. Hey, hey! Whoa! And got the Lings into the 3rd base. Because it's not a planetary fortress, means that Zerglings can get a lot more done. Ooh, that is a nice wall, though. That wall gets lifted just in the nick of time. It tries to burrow on in, but there's a scan. All those Zerglings are going to die. I've said for the longest time that a Ling-Baneling surround on that composition would get so much done. By golly, it certainly did. There, you can't out-repair this. Caustic Spray is too much. 5th base goes down for MaSa. Stephano gets a major victory there. He's lost a bunch of SCVs. He's lost a base. He is still not really happily fully mining down here at the 4th or 3rd, and this is the 4th. Can't remember what the numbers were, but I think that's what it was. Oh, yeah. Stephano is suddenly in a pretty darn good position. He's got 89 workers to 67 for MaSa. He's making more Lings and more Banelings. More. This continued run by. MaSa, make a bunker or something over here. Like, sit some Blue Flame Hellbats over here to protect your dudes. 8 more SCVs go down to that. 8 more go down to that. Oh, it doesn't run away! Brum. Just erases that small bit of an army there. Oh, he replaces this planetary fortress base with a non-planetary fortress base, and the Zerglings are having a great time. 16, 19 SCVs are going down. MaSa is getting picked apart right now by these Ling run-bys. He burrows some Lings over here. Oh, he's burrowed them. He's burrowed them over here. Lings, there we go. Ling's trying to come in here, but I guess now we have some defense, so never mind. Not going to happen. Stephano expanding again on the very edges of his creep. This is kind of weird expansion patterns of this map, actually. These are... I guess maybe this is safer. We decided to go for this one instead, maybe to help with the creep spread. I don't know. 12 Corruptors in production. This is absolutely going to be a Broodlord play. Well, I don't know what else this could be. Broodlords are going to try to get on this ground army. Corruptors are going to try to wipe out the battlecruiser army, which is 9 battlecruisers, by the way. Ling's cruising on in, picking off some mules. And a couple SCVs, but nothing too crazy. That is so many Zerglings. Up towards the 5th base. This absolutely has been under attack consistently for the last couple of minutes here. And then the Lings get out. Stephano believes in keeping his units alive as long as they can stay alive. Which is the hallmark of a really good StarCraft player, is they keep their units alive. Battlecruisers trying to sneak around this bottom side. Not super good. Oh, Liberator down south. That is not on the minimap at all. Can you see that on the minimap at all? Good grief, that is way on the edge of the minimap. Did pick up 7 kills, not too bad. Lings again at the 3rd. No, you're not allowed to mine gas from here. Not allowed to have supply depots or anything. And then when the army shows up, Banelings crash into stuff because they're not good at running, and the Lings get out. Kind of liking this. MaSa did manage to sneak a base down on this left side, which is really good for him. However, I kind of feel like that Overlord is really close to spotting it. And, but it's not. It is not spotted yet. Oh, but MaSa just taps out. 17 minutes and 54 seconds. He's like, I'm down. 30 supply here. Did he scan? What did he scan? What did he see? I guess he knew he was on 50 workers to 83. Army supply fairly similar, but... that is a weird place to tap out, MaSa. I don't know what's going on with you, dude. He was getting Ravens. He could have done some anti-armor missile on these Corruptors. Would have been really nice to see. Maybe he was just tired of losing SCVs. But, I mean, Terrans, they don't die if you kill a bunch of their SCVs. They have a really good way of coming back with mules. And with the number of orbital commands I'm seeing right here, yeah, that's going to work out pretty well for you. You don't even need SCVs if you have that many orbital commands. So, I don't know. I don't know what that GG was. I mean, resources lost here, 22,000 for MaSa, 28,000 for Stephano. So, I mean, he was doing some decent trades. The army supply here wasn't crazy from Stephano. It was 20 Corruptors, 60 Lings, and 2 Banelings. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess the 20 Corruptors do pretty well counter the battle cruisers. So, that's good. 6 Cyclones, 8 Hellions. I don't know. Maybe he didn't have enough to deal with the ground army. Like 68 Zerglings, especially if they have +3 attack. And do they never get adrenal glands? I'm just realizing right now. I don't see it here. That is not adrenal. He didn't get adrenal glands for his Lings. What the heck? Did he forget? I mean, the Lings did pretty well for themselves, even without adrenal. The +3 attack is pretty fantastic on them because they attack so fast. But All right, I am a bit of a loss there, honestly, as to why MaSa topped out when he did. I guess he saw the Ling horde running into this base. He knew all these SCVs were going to die and these mules. His army was not in position to do anything about it. This army kind of was, but we just didn't have the ground army to cover these consistent attacks. Let me know in the comments what you think, why he tapped out there, because I don't quite see it. But let's go ahead and move on to game number 2 anyway. This is going to be a fun series. I like game 1 already. It's a best of 5, so we have some ways to go. Stick with it. Don't go anywhere. Triton, a snowy place on the side of game 2. Bottom right-hand corner, down 0-1. It is MaSa. And in the top left, far, far away, is the French player Stephano. All right, so one Zelnaga watchtower on this map in the middle with some cover. Just these little plants, I think. These look like they belong at the bottom of the sea, at least outside of the Caprilu sector in our sector. What is our sector in StarCraft? Maybe the Terran sector? All right, let's pay attention to Stephano's build order here. I'm pretty sure it's a 16, 18, 17. Yep, 16 supply. 285, 300. Bam! Make 3 more drones. 1. And as soon as he has the minerals for it, 2. Oh, yeah, look at this. He's doing it. And then 3. He's got 3. And then the extractor as soon as he has resources to do so. Or sometimes you can wait on this. If you're not planning on getting speed fast, you can totally wait on this. Is he making even more drones? No, there's your gas. All right. There's your gas, and there's your pool at 17 supply. See that? 17, bam, pool. All right, cool. So MaSa, on the other hand of things, going for the 1 Rax Expandaruni. It's going to finish that sucker up. Get a Reaper on the way. We've got a Reaper name ready and raring to go. And then, yep, orbital command upgrade there to right after the start of that Reaper. So this is pretty standard stuff. We've seen this pretty much in every TVZ, at least that I've cast in the last, years now. Pretty standard. Every once in a while, we'll see a command center first play. But for the most part, it's pretty much just 1 Rax expand. It's just safe. It's economical. It doesn't really require you to do a whole lot of stuff. You don't have to worry too much about early aggression. Unless it's a pool first play. And even then, if you're bringing the SCV across to scout as MaSa, as you can see it coming in, prepare no problem. So I'm liking it. Reaper's name is Cole. Cole was a cute kobold, a tiny dragon-like creature. Unlike most kobolds, she was kind and was determined to be a hero. Unfortunately, her determination was only matched by her stupidity. She went to what she thought was the local adventurer guild to sign up to fight monsters, but in fact it was a Terran Dominion recruitment outpost, and they signed her up to be a Reaper instead. Now Cole is on the front lines, shooting her enemies while trying to become friends with them. I don't know if you want to be friends with a Zerg. Seems like if you're not Zerg, they're pretty intolerant. But yeah, the Reaper gets up here. Where the heck are your Lings? Did you try to skip Lings, man? I'm really confused by this from Stephano. He's forced to make 2 Spore Crawlers. A Queen does pop. The Reaper doesn't kill any drones, but that is some lost resources, man. That's about 100 lost resources. And look down here. Really? Oh, no, you add that back when you cancel. So it's a bit of a loss right now. 42 resources lost from Stephano just by canceling the buildings he was forced to make because he skipped Lings. And getting a 3rd base out pretty fast here, too. Very interesting opening play here from Stephano. No Zerglings out to deal with that Reaper. He recognizes he has to cancel some Spore Crawlers in order to make that happen. But in the end, he must think it's okay, because you have to expect a Reaper at this point of the game, right? There's no way you're like, There's no way there's a Reaper coming from MaSa. It's only the most standard build in the entire game. Hellion follow-up, no big deal there either. Making Marines worried about potential Nexus play, maybe. Does he know about Nexus play? Nidus play? Maybe. He didn't really get into the main base. There definitely could be a lair here, but there's not. Stephano's playing it pretty straight up. No sign of a 2-base row Travager. No sign of a 2 to 3 base row Travager. No sign of anything other than drones. 4 drones at a time in production right now, as well as some queens, because, you know, you can never discount the whole battlecruiser style play. However, there is a 3rd command center on the way. There's not a forge in production yet, nor do I think there will be one at all either. As I'm watching that, I don't think so. I don't think that went pretty well for MaSa in game number 1, or MaSa in game number 1, and I think he's just, he's going to hold off on that, at least in this game. He can definitely change his mind in the next one, but I don't think we'll see battlecruisers anytime soon. Is he still diving in? Man! Oh, Reaper goes down. Goodbye, Cole. We will miss thee. And then the drones come in. Holding up those Hellions. Making sure no drones die. Sacrificing some HP for it, but none of them went down. Stephano is absolutely holding here against MaSa in this early stages. In the last game, too, he really didn't lose anything. Maybe 5 drones in the first 10 minutes, which absolutely acceptable losses. He is going for Spore Crawlers, though, as he doesn't know what's coming, although Banshees are on the way, and they will have Cloaks, so pretty smart move. I mean, it's just really standard stuff. If you don't know what the Terran player is up to, throwing up safety spores at about 4 minutes is fine. Surprise is this late, honestly. I do like to get them a little bit earlier. I guess that's against Protoss, though. Yeah, in this case, unless it's a proxy, the Banshees aren't going to be any sooner than 4.5 to 5 minutes, so Stephano's timing is fine here. Spores popping in all the right places at the right time, and then just pretty much Lings and drones, man. Lings, drones, Ground 1 Carapace getting targeted for the Zerg player. There's a Viking running about trying to kill Overlords and supply block Stephano. Stephano is at this point not really close to being supply blocked. He has enough Overlords to make sure that's not going to be a problem for, for some time. Not forever, because there we go. As the Overlord does go down, he's making another one to replace. He's getting +1 melee, which indicates we're going to see Banelings and Zerglings and maybe even Ultralisks. The question is, what is MaSa going for? He's got a second factory. Is that a third factory and a third factory? So he's definitely going for the mech style again. I don't know. I'm not convinced this is the best way to do things against Stephano. He pretty well handled your little combination race car mech battlecruiser player in game number 1 without really too much difficulty, I don't think. Once again, MaSa tapped out at a weird time. I kind of feel like he was still in the match, but maybe he recognized he lost too much. He was falling further and further behind and just didn't want to play it out. Maybe he could have. Maybe he could have fought his way and clawed his way back, but against somebody as good as Stephano is, it's a hard deal, and maybe he just wanted to save his energy and stuff for later in the game, because it was game 1 of a best of 5, and who knows how long this is going to go. You know what I mean? Third base down here for MaSa. No sign of a fourth quite yet from Stephano, although a couple locations do present themselves as possibilities. Spine here, Hyperflight Rotor on the way. These Banshees are going to be fast. They're going to be fast. The good thing about Hyperflight Rotor Banshees is they can outrun Overseers even if they have speed. So they can't outrun Mutas, because Mutas are super zippy. But what they can do... Where did that Spore go? Did they kill that Spore? I don't think so. They have not lost any HP. Did that Spore relocate? I don't know what's happening right now. I thought Stephano was ready for this, but instead he's totally being caught by surprise by these Cloak Banshees. That speed upgrade takes forever to finish, so I don't think we're going to see it in this attack, as one of them decloaks, well, maybe not intentionally, but does get out of there. And then jukes right back in to pick off a couple more drones. This is really good mind game stuff out of MaSa. I'm liking it a ton. Ling counter attack. There are so many Hellions, that's not going to happen, friend. Nope, nothing in the middle here either. So it's going to be a Banshee Hellion style play. Blue Flame is on the way. Infernal Pre-Igniter coming in. Oh, the Lings trying to get a surround on these Hellions. By golly, every one of them. But one is going to go down. What an absolutely beautiful surround there from Stephano. The other one gets killed too. My goodness gracious. That is so problematic for MaSa. Losing those Hellions means the Lings can pretty much do whatever they want at this stage. Okay, there are still like 8 over here by the third. So when I say whatever they want, what I mean is they're going to have to run away now, as it's pretty good defense. Banelings exploding on a couple things, but really not getting a lot done. More and more Banshees in production. Hyperflight Rotors is almost done, but by golly, again, that takes about forever and a day to complete. It's a very long upgrade. It's a good upgrade. It's a good upgrade for sure. But what I was saying before I got interrupted was the Banshees can't outrun the Overseers. So the Mutas can chase them down, but they can't see them if the Overseer is not around. So it's pretty good. It's really hard to kill Hyperflight Banshees if you're a Zerg player. Nothing can really catch up with them. You know, Corruptors are not, they can't catch up. Mutas can, but without detection, they can't kill them. So you really shouldn't lose them all that much. If you're a Terran player, we'll see what MaSa does. Yeah, here they are. Hyperflight is done. Yeah, you can tell because they got the fire. They got the fire. They're going to snipe down this fourth if nothing shows up to stop this. There are some Queens waddling their way over here as fast as they can because they are on creep, which is nice. Transfusing the hatchery is interesting. But it is enough to overcome. It is enough to overcome, and especially as the Banshees get chased away by those Queens. All right, so difficult hooks on the way. Stephano's going for 11 drones at a time. He's really trying to ramp up their MaSa's already at 78, man. 78, and there's a fusion core on the way, and he's working on his upgrades for his ground vehicle units here. Banshees clearing out creep tumors. Once again, these should not die. If they're smart, they really shouldn't die. He's trying. Is there detection here? Oh, there's an Overseer coming around the top. Okay, so there's your Overseer. There was a Nidus that Stephano made somewhere. I don't know what he's planning on doing with it here. Lock on against Queens is pretty fantastic. It hits them pretty darn hard. Well, there's your Nidus Worm, anyway, here inside the natural base. And an Overseer coming in, I think, to throw up a Nidus in the main base once this one goes down, because it is going to die. There are Cyclones here. I mean, it's very close to finishing, but it's not going to get there. And in fact, it does not. The main base starts popping one there too, which you can do with one Nidus network. And the Banshees finish off the 4th. Ooh, they came back to finish the job. Main base still getting Nidus, though. Gotta watch out for this. But again, coming up with the Cyclones, and bam, Nidus down. However, Lings do show up at the 4th base, which is problematic. Banshees here at a replacement 4th base that Stephano's trying to get up. I mean, I guess it was going to be the 5th, but now I don't know what we're going to call it. We'll call it the 5th. Stephano will probably replace that, and he forces cancel on that hatch too. These Banshees are doing some serious work. Once again, another Nidus trying to come up here, and it does manage to come up. The transfuses are real, but most of the army is here for MaSa, and I don't think these queens are going to do a whole lot. They do force a retreat there. The queens have to get out, except for this one that's left behind, and the Nidus form goes down. And that one goes down too. I just don't know there's enough here for Stephano to make this thing happen. He's down 50 supply. He's got Lings and Banelings. That's not great against this composition. And MaSa takes the game to victory. Very nicely done. There in 10 minutes and 16 seconds. We tied it up, ladies and gentlemen. That first game looked pretty good for Stephano, but MaSa with the Banshees. Again, Banshees that did not die. Any Banshees die in this game? No, because they shouldn't. In the hands of a competent and really good professional player in StarCraft 2, they should not die, and they did not. 12 kills, 14 kills, like the original ones have the double-digit kills here, including a ton of drones. There were 25 drones killed in that game. Much better for MaSa in the first 10 minutes than in the last one. 78 to 65 workers. A 4th base is getting established for MaSa. Stephano still on 3 bases. Lost a hatch. Lost so many drones. The Nidus play did not work out. Did not pay off for him at all. And then his just meager little army of 64 supply worth of Lings and Banelings and Queens was just not going to cut it against this 108 supply army, including Banshees. The Banshees were the biggest problem here. They could just go ahead and focus down these Banelings, and then the Lings can't do much against this particular composition, especially with that their Blue Flame, which is done. So good game. Good game by MaSa. Ties it up. We're going to move into game number 3 here. Don't go anywhere. Game 3's on Thunderbird, a big map for macro games. Top left-hand corner, we have... Did I just combine top and bottom into one word? Kind of feel like I did. All right, so we got MaSa here in the top left, evening it up last game. He is blue, and in the bottom right is the red Zerg player, Stephano. He is still French and still an incredible Zerg player. All right, man. Who's going to win game number 3? Your guess is as good as mine. But boy, Stephano, you were not prepared for those Cloak Banshees, were ya? You were not prepared. I was going to check to see where that Spore Crawler went at the 3rd base, but... I'm not entirely sure. Maybe I'll go back and watch it. We'll see. We will see. MaSa not proxying, not doing command center first, just throwing up a barracks, no big deal. Stephano throwing up an expansion. There's a pretty long distance between your natural and your main on this map. Yeah, your main is super big. Look at all that space before you get to your ramp. Look at all the space from the ramp, bottom of the ramp to your expansion. Thunderbird's a big map, you guys. And you can take a 3rd base pretty darn quickly, but you gotta watch out, because these little mineral patches here can be mined out by drones. And Zerglings can sneak through and wreck your 3rd base, and you will be a sad Terran player. A very sad Terran player. We've seen that done. I think somebody did that in WCS Fall recently. Who? It wasn't this map, so it wasn't this game, but somebody did manage to sneak in. It was like down here. It was like a backdoor in the natural base or backdoor into a 4th or something, but somebody did bring some drones in and actually mine out, and then Lings just ran rampant all over the place and killed everything. So you got to watch out for that. There are some sneaky backdoors here that can get taken down a little bit easier. It is a bit of an all-in play from the Zerg, though, because bringing 2 drones across the map at this stage of the game can really harm your economy into the mid-game. And making that many Lings, right, that they're ready to run in there, that's a lot of larvae and resources that should be drones instead. So if you're planning on doing that, Zerg players, just be aware. Just be aware it's an all-in. So is there a couple Marines early from MaSa? I don't know. That last Reaper was pretty effective. I don't know why he would skip Reaper this game, but it's okay. By the way, Reaper names, I am running a little bit low on them now. So I remember I said recently, please stop sending me Reaper names, but I think they're back on the menu. So if you'd like to send them, go ahead. You just put them in the comments of any video. Just put a Reaper name and then give me the name. You have to type Reaper name so I can find it when I'm searching the comments. But other than that, if you want a backstory, great. If you don't want a backstory, that's fine too. Stephano, just playing the macro style, guys. That's all he's pretty much been wanting to do here, is drone up a whole ton. We haven't seen much Roach Ravager play from him. No Baneling Bus style stuff. Baneling Bus is actually pretty effective on this map because everybody assumes you're just going to macro. because it is such a long rush distance. But if you can Baneling bust this ramp, or maybe wherever they wall off here, if they're Terran, you're going to have a pretty good time. And again, MaSa's playing pretty blind right now. He doesn't know anything. He knows there's a third base coming up, but otherwise he has no vision at all. Stephano could absolutely have thrown down a Baneling nest, made 20 Zerglings, and just won at this point. That is a quick third base from MaSa. But instead, he's just playing it smart. He's playing it safe. I don't know if smart is necessarily the correct way to explain this, because again, he could catch MaSa entirely by surprise with about 20 Zerglings. I know there's a bunker here, but you bring some Banes, you're going to have a pretty good time. There are no tanks anywhere near this place. Okay, now there's a factory on the way. But yeah, it's just a lair. It's just a lair. It is a Roach Warren. He has gotten a Roach Warren. I think he got one in Game 1 and Game 2, but didn't really use it all that much. Just in case there were going to be Hellbats, I think he just wanted to have a Roach Warren ready to go. Roaches are fantastic against Hellbats. Banelings are good too. You can split against Banelings and do fairly well still if you're a Terran player. If you show up with Hellbats and there are just like 6 Roaches, you're going to have a bad time. Hellbats were designed to kill light units. Roaches are not. Roaches hit pretty hard. They're fast, especially if they're depending on creep. So I think that's what this is. This is just a safety Roach Warren for safety Roaches. Again, you can absolutely make me eat my words here and just go for a big Roach Ravager attack off of about 2.5 bases, which again is a viable strategy against Terran, and I have seen succeed. But in this case, where there are 2 starports under construction right now from MaSa, it feels a bit more like we're going to see the Banshees, possibly more battle cruisers. Is there a fusion core on the way? There is a fusion core on the way. All right, man, that's a tech lab. That is a tech lab. He's going for a lot of battle cruisers early. 2 battle cruiser rush here. Oh, he made some roaches. Holy smokes, Stephano actually made roaches. Oh, and he's going for the Nidus. All right, man, here we go. Roach Queen Nidus versus battle cruiser. Who wins that is the question on everybody's mind. Stephano has basically stopped making drones. He's just making roaches. He's making the Zerglings. Speed is almost done. Again, delayed. He's not a huge fan of getting Speedlings fast, which I guess I can totally understand, but this is absolutely a Roach Queen all in here. Is there enough to kill this Nidus? There are 2 Hellions and 4 Marines. It doesn't feel like enough to kill this Nidus, you guys. These SCVs are coming off the line. They don't do much damage to this 5 armor Nidus Worm either. Oh my gosh, it pops. It transfuses, and Stephano wins Game 3 in 5 minutes and 34 seconds. Whoa! Remember when I was like, I don't know if Stephano's intending to do anything too crazy. Then he did. He stopped making drones. He made some roaches, actually used the Roach Warren, tossed his queens in there, and that was it. MaSa's army was nowhere near able to handle this. It was right for him to tap out there. He was trying to make a battle cruiser, but those things take forever to build. This one too, never going to finish. There are some Hellions on the way. Hellions are horrible against Roach Queen. And again, the Marines weren't enough there either. What an absolutely crazy play. Again, MaSa playing blind. Playing so blind. Look at this. He knows there's creep, and he knows a third base exists. That's literally it. He's never got a scan on the main base. He never got any scouting into the natural base either. Just playing in the dark, going for 2 battle cruisers, and Stephano punished him for it. Absolute punishment there. Fantastic job by Stephano. 3 games pass. Stephano's up 2-1. It's a best of 5. He only needs 1 more game to win this thing. Can MaSa force a game number 5, or is Stephano going to get the 3-1? I can tell you this much. MaSa's going to be a lot more careful in the next game. If this happens again, MaSa just should be forced to like take a sabbatical from StarCraft. It can happen in the next game. So stick with it. We'll be back. Don't go anywhere. World of Sleepers, the ladder edition. It is do or die for MaSa. Win or go home. Round of 16s are often that way. It's going to be the bottom left-hand corner on this map. It is MaSa. Still Canadian and still Terran. You can't switch races in the middle of a series. And in the top right, we got the Red Zerg player Stephano. Looking pretty good, man. And I mean, that is the nature of series, though. You can have 2 kind of longer games, right? Where a lot of stuff's going on back and forth. And then a quick 5-minute little, whoa, what happened? And suddenly you're down 2-1. I mean, that is the perfect time to go for a Roach Nidus Queen play. Is when you're tied up 1-1. If you can win that pivotal Game 3, which Stephano did, you have the upper hand going from here on out. And MaSa, he needs to win 2 games in a row against a player who's looked pretty good today. Stephano has looked pretty fantastic here today. So nothing crazy still yet. He didn't go for the pool first in this particular match. He did in Game 1, but hasn't since then. And MaSa just, again, he doesn't believe in proxies, it would seem here. kind of feel like it do pretty well. This is a pretty big map, though. It would take a while for the SCVs to get across there, start building a barracks. You always have to worry about overlords coming to scout you out. That's what this overlord is about right here. Specifically, is looking for those proxies, because Zerg players hate using drones to look for them, because it means you die in the mid game if you pull a drone off the map or off of the minerals this early. I don't know. I don't think it matters for you and me, the gold, platinum, diamond level StarCraft player, maybe even silver or bronze. It really doesn't matter if you pull one drone off to go looking around for a barracks. It might keep you alive, honestly, too, but if you want to get to the Masters Grandmaster level, it's not as good of an idea. So, Reaper on the way. Reaper's name is Jafar, the evil magic sorcerer of Agrabah. Jafar thought he had everything he wanted: the kingdom, great magical power, Jasmine, and a genie who still had to grant one more wish. In his final confrontation with Aladdin, the street rat pointed out that the genie was more powerful than Jafar would ever be. Jafar thought about it and decided that the only thing more powerful than a genie was death itself, so Jafar wished to be a Reaper. He really should have worded that wish better. And here he is. This is Jafar from Disney's Aladdin. I didn't watch the live remake. I watched the cartoon version 100,000 times because my little sister was way into it. She was probably 2 or 3 when it came out. We got it on VHS, and she watched that thing 2 or 3 times a day for the whole summer, and it was a lot of Aladdin, man. There was a point, I think I could just recite the whole thing, every line, every bit of every song, just from memory, which, can't do it anymore, but that's still too much Aladdin, I think, for one person's life. I don't think she remembers doing this. I talked to her about it recently, and she's like, I don't remember watching that much Aladdin. I was like, yeah, you were very little at the time here. Reaper Jafar trying to get that creep tumor, not going to happen. The Lings are out for Stephano this game. He did not skip the Lings this time, and I think it's helping him quite a bit. These are freaking me out, man. I keep thinking these are Hellions, but it's too early for Hellions. They're not here yet. Still waiting on that reactor. The factory just floating above there. Jets burning. I still feel like Terran buildings that are flying should eventually have to land. I'm just saying. Just saying, 5-10 minutes, they have to land. It would just mean that Terrans couldn't force draws in situations where they're dead. That's all. That's all I want. It's dumb. Alright, so Stephano, drone. He's doing all the droning. No Roach Horn yet, no Baling Nest either. Indicates we're going for more of a macro style here. MaSa, once again, going for the pretty quick starport. Pretty quick starport, and a pretty quick third command center here, too. Let's see. Third, yeah, not as easy to hold this third base unless you mine these out, which not that bad, actually. Honestly, not that bad. Wait, hold on. Did he already? Turn left. Turn left. Are these not what am I freaking out about here? Are these? Is this map not mirrored? Oh, it's over here. Okay, so that's where his minerals are. Dang it, Falcon, you're blind sometimes. Okay, we're good. I have not played much on World of Sleepers, and again, I'm fairly map blind. I should not be. It is a weakness of mine for sure. But I basically, when I get on a map, I'm like, where am I? Where is my opponent? Where are my expansions? Where can they expand? Go. Like, I really don't pay attention to a lot of other stuff, which leads to weird expansion patterns when I play 2v2s with Somicron, which he always makes fun of me for. But Yara, are we going for a battlecruiser attempt again? No. Once again, Cloaked Banshee. MaSa's going back to that well. He's like, you know what got me that win before was Cloaked Banshees. Stephano was not ready for it. He's going for some roaches here, getting that +1 ground carapace, getting a lair here too. Banshee Cloaking Field is just about done. Doesn't actually take that long to finish, at least not compared to Hyperflight Rotors, which is a great upgrade and takes a while. Yep, Queen count continuing here. He's got 3, 4, maybe 5. Yeah, he's got 5 with another one on the way. So if it was a battlecruiser, he'd be able to handle it. Creep spread getting pushed back by MaSa. That's a pretty good victory there. Slowing down Stephano's creep spread is almost a must. He's going to try to push it so far. The problem with going Cloaked Banshee is, if you're preparing for a battlecruiser, the answer is basically going to be the same thing as it is against Cloaked Banshee. Cloaked Banshees do manage to sneak up here, though. Take down 3 drones. Okay, 3 drones is acceptable losses. Where is your Spore at the third base? Banshee could go right in there. Decloaking, getting some shots off on those roaches. That's a lot of roaches all of a sudden. MaSa needs a tank. He needs a tank real bad. That is way too many roaches to just be defensive at this stage. He's pulling back with his Hellions. They're not going to be all that much use. The tank immediately starts getting produced here. This is a walk down from Stephano, ladies and gentlemen. He's bringing his queens across the map. He's going to try. Oh, Banshee gets picked off thanks to the Overseer and thanks to the queen's range there. 6 more roaches on the way. Stephano wants to go home. He doesn't want another 18-minute game 1 at all. He wants to win this thing now. If MaSa can hold, again, he's going to force another game here, which would be really nice, but he's invested a lot into these Banshees and into Hyperflight Rotor. He's making tanks as fast as he can. He's landing a third base to help with income. There's Ravagers getting morphed right at the front door, and the Banshees are going to be huge here. But the Queens are here specifically to handle the Banshees. Where'd that Overseer go? There he is. There's your Overseer, and Banshees cannot transfuse themselves. They can get repaired. This is pretty intense stuff for MaSa. He's working on upgrades. He's got these Hellions. They're effectively useless against this particular composition. If they were Hellbats, it'd be a different story, but keeping the tanks alive is going to be a big deal. Supply Depot's getting rocked down. MaSa is supply blocked fairly heavily now. Roach is sneaking on into the natural base, trying to pick some units off there. Taking Banshee hits in the meantime. Corrosive Bile's trying to hit them, but nice dodge by MaSa. Hellions just trying to get as much damage as they can at the front. If you damage enough of the Queens, they can't transfuse each other. Tanks at the back doing some work here. 2 kills on that one, 2 kills on that one. This one getting focused down. Corrosive Biles, and they do finish it off. This one needs to siege up. The Hellions are trying to buffer as well as they can, but just moving on in. Is our Reaper still alive? He was still alive for a second there, as a KD8 charge did happen, but 26 SCVs have been killed. Stephano is way up. This is not a huge Zerg army, but it's a terrifying Zerg army, just based on the situation here. 5 kills and 6 kills on those Ravagers. Queens don't do a ton of DPS. Slowlings coming up right now from Stephano, which is hilarious. Third base getting attacked by roaches. 2 here, more Banshees in production, more tanks in production, and the natural base is absolutely evacuated. Roaches in here. SCV's trying to fight them. 34, 35 have gone down. More roaches coming across the map here. MaSa had advanced warning of this, but he wasn't able to prepare adequately. The Banshees were not enough. The Queens were able to hold them off. And these roaches, how many kills? 5 kill roach there. Eventually does get taken down, but more and more roaches and Ravagers are streaming across the map. Stephano's droning up a little bit. He's expanded behind this. This is not as super duper all in, but it's looking super bad for MaSa regardless. Corrosive Biles, and the both tanks do end up going down too close to the edge, and good game. Stephano manages to win games 3 and 4 in record pace there. Okay, not record pace, but still very quickly. 13 minutes total for both of those games. And Stephano's like, you know what? I don't think you're prepared for this, MaSa. You went for a very quick third base. You went for Banshees, which are not great if the Queens decide to walk across the map. They're really good if the Queens stay home. And it's just Roach Ravager trying to do stuff. But with the Queens around and the Overseers, it was too much. He started tank production, but it was too late. I mean, he got advance warning. He just didn't have enough time or the resources to make it happen. Not with the quick third base that he took there, too. Woo! Yeah, he should have stuck on 2 bases behind those Banshees. Maybe made a few more tanks. I mean, honestly, if he's got 3 or 4 tanks behind this wall, Stephano has a much harder time breaking it, without question. The Banshees are able to sit back with the tanks and pick off units that get too close. The third base can be kept alive a little bit longer. And yeah, in the end, Stephano making it happen and takes a very convincing 3-1 lead, or 3-1 victory rather, over MaSa in this round of 16 series. I think he goes into play special in the next round, which I might do next Sunday. Let me know in the comments if there's a particular series from WCS Fall you want me to cast, as I know a bunch of you watched a bunch of that. I don't, some of you didn't watch any of it. Some of you have watched some of it. And that's why I cast these games, is just to give a little bit more of a spotlight, my own personal flavor onto some of these series, and hope you enjoy them. Hope that you enjoy them for sure. But yeah, man, we're looking at really effective stuff there from Stephano. He lost only 3,000 resources to 7,600 for MaSa. A lot of that was 34 SCVs that were killed during that attack. A bunch of supply depot supply blocking him until his army died to the point where he didn't need the supply anymore. 5 tanks got killed. A Reaper named Jafar went down there too. Did toss down one last KD8 charge in the middle of those roaches and sent them flying. But it wasn't enough to win the day, unfortunately. So, good game for Stephano. Vive la France, man. It's super duper impressive stuff. But, yeah, I guess that's going to be it for me today. I thought the series would be a little bit longer, but when it's done, it's done. So that's going to be it from me. This is Ben Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead, hit that like button, hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch, all at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself. Hey there, StarCraft fans! It's Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. From Home Story Cup 2019, it's going to be Solar versus Clem. Here on New Repugnancy, the Ladder Edition. Bottom left-hand corner is the young Terran player sporting red. It is Clem. He hails from the country of France. And in the top right, it is the Korean Zerg player sporting blue. It is Solar. He is not as young as Clem, but fairly young, but not by esports levels. Esports standards? Esports standards. Yeah. Okay, so ZVT here on New Repugnancy. Man, I love this matchup, and judging by the view numbers, this is your favorite matchup as well, statistically. If it's not, don't argue with me. That's what the stats say. Hatch first, 16 hatch. Out of Solar. Into an extractor. At around, I want to say, yeah, 18. 18 is about as high as he will go. Let's see. Let's see here if he's going to go extractor. Right, there it is, 18. 18 going down here, but close, well, close to that 200. So then the pool goes down here too. So timing here is a bit different than what I would do. I like to have, well, it's a bit greedier is what it is here. I'll usually go for like a 16 or a 17 extractor into a 17 or 16 pool, depending on the matchup here. Terran, I'm not as worried about early pressure. Protoss, I am. But here comes the Reaper. Reaper's name is Bob. Bob, the vengeful presidential ghost. Bob, the dead president of the Terran Dominion, learned his son Robert was killed by Mengsk. Bob's once peaceful ghost, filled with vengeance and possessed a Reaper, so he can get revenge on Emperor Mengsk. How Bob is supposed to get revenge on Mengsk and a Reaper is really anyone's guess. Yeah, that's fair, man. You remember the saga of Bob? Remember how Bob ran against Emperor Mengsk in an election, and then he was stuffed into a Reaper suit because Emperor Mengsk doesn't like being challenged, and then he survived the game? Wow. And then he survived again, you guys, and then he was killed, and now he's a ghost. And his son Robert was killed as well. Emperor Mengsk's bloodthirst knows no bounds. Alright, man. Reaper coming on in, and we're going to see the dance we've seen 300,000 times, it feels like. Doo-dee-doo-doo. I'm going to... hopefully I'll kill a Reaper here. A Reaper, say the Zerglings. Hopefully I'll kill a Zergling here, says the Reaper. Maybe I will. I don't know. Ah, the Queen popped out. My game is over. I'll check if there's a third base as long as I'm around. Yep, there's definitely a third base here from Solar. Nothing crazy there. I need ZVT to get mixed up, you guys. I am so tired of this opening. Nothing happens. Nobody dies. Did you get a creep tumor? I think you got a creep tumor. Nice. So creep tumor pickoff is about as exciting as this gets. Additionally, one Ling might possibly die here, but we never see drones die. It's just like, just dance around. We force the Lings out so that the Zerg player doesn't get 2 extra drones in this early stage of the game, which can snowball into a crazy effect and be very hard to deal with. Alright, man. Hellion follow-up here from Clem. Nothing too crazy. Clem, I like this kid. He's promising. He's maybe not as promising as Raynor is, who is a very young Italian player who's 17. I believe Clem is also 17. Not as promising as Raynor is, but still very, very good at StarCraft nevertheless. He has, man, he's gone toe-to-toe with Showtime. He's done well against other Korean players. I'm interested to see how this is going to work out. Solar is very nigh undefeatable in offline tournaments. Not offline, but just like smaller tournaments where you're not actually in the same place as the people you're playing against. He's amazing. Like, he has won, I think, 7 or 8 Africa Worlds, which I cast, by the way, out on africatv.com/laughingames with Laughin' Games about every other week here. July we took off. We're going to start up in August again. But we get players like Solar, man. And Solar has the world record in the most tournaments he's won there. And this is not like easy stuff, man. We're talking about players like Creature. We're talking about players like MC has shown up. We're talking about people like Innovation has been around there. Maru has shown up from time to time. I mean, it is big time players, man. As this Hellion harass happens here. So Solar is no slouch. Solar is actually abjectly terrifying. But Clem, young and up and coming, eager to prove himself in the situation, I feel like can do pretty well here. The Queen positioning has just been insane from Solar, though. He's just absolutely refusing to allow the Hellions to get in here without taking several shots from Queens, and the Queens are body blocking too. Baneling Nest on the way from Solar. He's going for a lair here, sitting at 47 workers at 5 minutes. And here comes a drop. That's a Hellion drop. This is a lot of Hellions for somebody who's going bio. Is this what we're doing here? Man, he is not actually teching all that much at all. Ooh, the armory's coming up, though. This is going to be a Hellbat drop. Oh, I've died to this. I have died to this before. Ladies and gentlemen, this very build, you basically push with the Hellions into the natural base, transform them into Hellbats, and then drop Hellbats in the main at the same time. I have not been able to hold this ever. It's happened to me maybe 3 times, and it's really hard to do. Ready for this action? Hellbat transformation. And now the medic vacs can heal us up. And we're going to go ahead and roast anything that tries to come over here. The drones cannot harvest from this area at all. There's a Spore Crawler, but I mean, maybe you could try to kill it so that your medevac doesn't die. Meanwhile, Hellbats are at the third base, causing some problems over there, too. So the medevac dies, which is a bit of a problem here for Clem. The Queens are doing pretty well in the situation where there's only 3 Hellbats inside the main base. The drones are getting pulled. This is a lot of lost mining time, but only 7 drones have gone down. Basically, I lost everything in this attack when it came at me. Man, those Hellbats just finally get cleaned up inside the main base. Still here, by the way. At the third, the drones get pulled again. This is so much lost mining time. The positioning is disgusting out of this Hellbat here. The Lings don't want to deal with that action. Queens have to come over to deal with it. And they do, and the Viking dies as well. So 9 drones go down. A lot of lost mining time there out of Solar. It is 49 to 51 workers. Clem was doing a great job macroing back home. And he is definitely going bio. Okay, I was worried for a second there. It was just a Hellbat attack into bio here. Which obviously he could have gone into mech if he wanted to, but at this stage he threw down a ton of barracks during that attack while microing on the other side of the map. And if you're ever wondering why you're not a professional StarCraft player, it's because can you do that? Can you micro Hellbat drops in 2 separate locations against Solar and build a ton of barracks and engineering bays and stuff back home at the same time while continuing to pump out SCVs? I can't. I am not capable of that. And partially because I don't play Terran. But even if I did play Terran, I wouldn't be capable of that. That was insanely well executed. I'm loving what I'm seeing out of Clem here. Solar, though, the longer you leave him alone, the more scary he gets. He's making 9 Banelings. He's going for centrifugal hooks here. His lair's obviously done. He's going for double gas here at the natural base. His 4th base is now getting started here while the 3rd base is landing for Clem. So Clem doing a good job economically keeping up with the Zerg player. Again, intimidatingly, Solar is really good at StarCraft. But, I don't know. The reactions here from Clem, the pressure he's been putting on is pretty nice. Banelings are in position to defend this base. Is he going to stim in and try to get it? He is, but there are Banelings right there. They don't have speed yet. Oh, wow. Forcing a cancel. Ling's cruising on up to the 3rd base. No, says a tank and a handful of Marines. Boy, scan, get that tumor. It'd be so nice to get that tumor. Oh, Clem not scanning, though. He's got 3 orbital commands, though. This 3rd base is not a planetary, and that worries me a lot. Oh, he did get him. He's going for tumors now, man. Tumor, and then pull back. He's not getting greedy. I love this out of Clem. It's like, I got rid of your 4th base. I'm going to kill a couple tumors, and I'm going to pull out. I'm not going to lose as much as you want me to lose here. The Solar throws up a replacement 4th base here in between is his 3rd and his natural. Meanwhile, drops moving out. Wall of supply depots protecting the 3rd base against Ling run-bys. Not so good against Banelings as it turns out. That's a lot of Zerglings, man. Oh, nice pickup on the tank and saving it, though. Oh, this is problematic. Just pick up and run. There we go. Pick up and run. You can't save everyone. He thought about it. He tried, but he failed miserably. That's okay. He saved most of the people. He doesn't have any empty slots in his medevacs, which is kind of what I feel like the measurement is here. If you still have empty slots in your medevacs, you failed at saving your people. If you're full up, then that's all you can do. Again, just another push over here, killing some tumors, picking up, getting on out of there. There's got to be an answer here to these medevacs, and the answer so far is, well, Infestation Pit, I guess. So there's no Spire, there's no Hydralisk Den, it's just Ling, Baneling, Queen with an Infestation Pit coming in here. Creeps were until kind of insane. A drop attempt in the main base is sniffed out quite nicely by Solar. That gets shut down. Creep spread is pushing, man. I mean, Clem's doing an okay job, but this map is not very big, and as a result, this tumor count is kind of nuts. Banelings, though! Yoink! And the Banelings are like, hey, don't you want to land? No? All right, that's fine. Unloading on the high ground here. Clem is being super active, and so is Solar. All over the map here. Pushing on and trying to get a tumor, trying to kill some Zerglings, but there are Banelings here, and there are some decent hits there. Some wasted Banelings there out of Solar, but that's okay. Again, just keeping the pressure on, forcing Solar to make Lings and Banelings now, when he'd rather be making drones. Pretty good target fire and a decent pickup there, not the best of all time. And Solar just has drop prevention in most places here on the map. His 4th base is done. His 5th base is about halfway complete here. Clem's 4th base is landing here. This is better Better be a planetary fortress is all I can say about that. Hive on the way here from Solar. I want to learn this style. I want to learn the style of Ling Bei Ling Queen into 10 minutes in this game. Like, that's all he has. He's got an infestation pit, but just for a hive. He doesn't need anything else to survive here against a player as good as Clem. Like, that just is... How is a mystery to me, for sure. Yeah. Anyway, I mean, this Marine... There you go. Tank's firing. That's what you want to see here. Clearing out some creep tumors, pushing the Zerg player back, pushing the creep back very nicely, but that's 100 creep tumors coming up right there. These guys are just out of reach of these spores and hiding. That's a lot of banelings, though. And that's a pickup situation, boy. Nope. All right. Well, everybody dies then. That's fine. Everybody dies. Engagement at the front here. Ling Bei Ling doing very, very well for itself. Trying to come up this left side, but nah. The tanks are too good. Too many tanks here, but just keeping the pressure up on Clem. That at 4th base is a planetary fortress. Thank goodness for him. And Solar sitting on 5 bases. He's probably going to expand up this way here, too. It's just Clem is everywhere with these drops, but after canceling that 4th base, he really hasn't done much other than killing some tumors. Maybe killing some Marines here, too. Oh, this is just a wipeout right here. All right, well, tanks are gone. And Solar's not going to get greedy. He's like, you know what? I'm going to kill 2 tanks. Pull back. Wait for my Ultralisk Cavern and my Spire to finish while I'm like 42 Zerglings with Adrenal Glands on the way. 2-2 here, man. I mean, I don't want to say... I don't know if I should say this, but kind of feels like Solar is playing with his food a little bit. Just a little bit. I mean, Clem, he's trying to do stuff. He really is. He's finally pushing with tanks, but at 12 minutes, it just feels too late. There are Ultralisks on the field, ladies and gentlemen. Well, in eggs anyway. Does that count as being on the field? Queen dies. I like the Marauders in the mix here to absorb some of those Baneling shots. Tank set up in range of that hatchery, and you know what? This hatchery is going to go down. So Solar going to lose a base. Problematic for him. Viper's going to Blinding Cloud, though. Check this action out. Ready, go. Coming on over, Blinding Cloud on top of everything here. The Ultralisks on top of the tanks. There are some tanks back here too, but they're not in great position here, and the Zerg Swarm just marches through all of that. Queens at the front lines for transfuses too, if necessary. Medevacs flying over those Queens. One of them gets picked off by the Queen Anti-Air. Tank fire on those. Okay, those Banelings, I'm not sure where they're trying to go, but they are all dead now. So, I don't know. Clem 168 to 175 supply is expanding to the left side here too. His expansion timings have been fine. Solar's got another base coming up here in the bottom right-hand corner. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I guess 5th base died here, but it's on its way back because Solar is a good StarCraft 2 player, turns out. Corruptor's on the way. As Corruptor's to deal with the Medevacs. I mean, we could see a Greater Spire here at some point too, but we don't have that at the moment. Also, Anabolic Synthesis on the way, giving Ultralisks a speed boost off creep. They're as fast on creep as they're going to be, but once they're off creep, that speed boost kicks in so they don't slow down as much as they would off creep normally, is the idea there. Clem maxed out. Solar maxed out. I mean, we've got Liberator production here, working on advanced ballistics at the same time. Some drones died. Where? I don't know. Were they up here maybe? I didn't see a drop of any kind, but 2 drones are dead. And Solar doesn't want to directly engage with this. This is pretty good stuff out of Clem. Clem is sitting on 2-2 with 3-3, about 50% complete. His upgrade timings are not as good as they otherwise could be. Only 1 tank here, though. I don't know about this. Tank's getting some nice parting shots on those Ultras, though. And look, he really wants to kill this hatchery, if at all he can. And by golly, he might get it. Just because Solar seems a little bit, there we go, a little bit indecisive. Now he's going for it. Corruptor's on top of the Medevacs. Lings and Ultras on top of all of the tanks and the bio. Reinforcing units are coming in here. Liberator setting up shop. Nope, Corruptor kills that thing quite nicely. And another, this tank has 5 kills, just crushing through right now. He dies as soon as I bring attention to him because I cursed him that way. And engagement in the middle here. Knight is coming up inside the main base of Solar. Does he see it is the question. I don't know if he does. He's microing really hard at the front right now, trying to deal with these Corruptors. He's got some units that could be able to deal with this worm, but there's your eruption. Here come the Zerglings. And yeah, the units do actually come back to try to deal with this, and they're going to be able to. 1 add-on maybe is going to die, and maybe not even that. Yeah, that's the problem with Nidusing at the late game versus Terran. They've got units constantly popping out of their production facilities, so it's fine. Corruptors are just winning the day here for Solar. Liberators dying instantly. Medevacs getting killed as soon as they get in range. This is why I like Corruptors in TVZ, and I have for a very long time. They're really good against Liberators. They're really good against Medevacs. They're not as flimsy as Mutalisks are. Sure, they can attack the ground, but that's what the Lings and Banelings and Ultras are for. Anyway, another nice coming up here from Solar. Maybe you can throw some Fear of Zerg into Clem's heart there a bit. But see, another Medevac goes down. Resources lost, 19,000 for Solar, 16,000 for Clem. Planetary Fortress is exposed. We're going to say that. There are some tanks coming over to help defend it. Is Solar going to come in is the question. Attacks in the middle here doing some work. Oh, there are some ghosts in the mix here too. Steady targeting could be used on the Ultralisks. Attack on into Clem's 5th base, though. Tanks firing, actually making this happen for Clem. There's no... Oh, the Banelings on the... Banelings on the SCVs are the problem, but otherwise he's okay. Engagement in the middle going Solar's way once again, though. The Corruptors are just... They're not worried about anything, man. They're flying over Marines. They're flying over Marauders, especially. Just pushing Clem back over and over and over and over. This base does survive. The SCVs need to get back to work here. Broodlords in production from Solar. He's following up. The Ultras are not doing it for him here. So 7 Broodlords in production. What's the response going to be here from Clem? He's making a Liberator, which is nice. Clem's down to 168 total supply. He did end up losing again several drones during that 5th base attack. And Solar hasn't expanded for a while, and I don't know. I'm not sure if he needs to necessarily. He has 187 supply. Steady targeting, and here come the Broodlords. Now... Steady targeting. One steady targeting actually gets off there, but when there are this many Lings and Banelings and Broodlings, it's hard to get anything channeled. And that's what that steady targeting ability is here. Marines going after a base in the bottom right. Meanwhile, the Broodlords pulling back. They don't want to engage off creep in this situation. Oh gosh, get the hatch. The steady targeting. Well, the stutter stepping actually does take down that hatch. Clem being everywhere the Broodlords cannot be. A nuke in production from Clem. Okay. This game is getting interesting. I am on board with this right now. Solar, trying to get in here. Not really working out for him. The Broodlords are flying off creep now. 3 Vikings at a time in production. Currently none with his army, which seems like a problem. And +2 air weapons getting researched. Yeah, what is your answer going to be to these Broodlords? I guess, yeah, Viking? Vikings here, steady targeting, trying to do stuff too. This is a really awkward position from Clem. He's kind of stuck. That's good against the Lings, I suppose. Tanks, some of them are in siege mode, others are not. The Ghosts are getting target fired here by the Broodlords. That's a really nice job there. The Queens are transfusing everything right now. A Liberator does set up on the other side of the map and try to get some stuff done there by killing 4 drones, but this attack does not look like it's going to go anywhere for Clem. Solar is crushing through right now. Planetary Fortress trying to hold. The tanks are staying alive longer than I thought they would, but they're all gone now. Army supply 58 to 90. The Broodlord showed up. The Viking count was not high enough to handle it at all in any sense. And the fact that there were Queens up here helping transfuse those Broodlords was just not fair. The Corruptor count is high. Not too high, but high enough to handle the Vikings that are coming out of here of Clem. And we're going to see a GG here real soon as this base is getting desperately repaired. But the Banelings are too much. The Planetary Fortress goes down. And Clem fought a valiant battle, but he is done right now. That base is dead. Good game. Well played, says Clem. Solar gets the win in 18 minutes and 43 seconds. Yeah, Clem, he has the right ideas. He does. He knows how to play the game, obviously. He was all over the place with those drops. Forcing a cancel on that 4th base was huge for him, but didn't really kill another base until it didn't really matter. And if you're going to kill a Zerg player like Solar, you got to kill more than 21 drones. You need to do drops that Solar doesn't see coming. You need to be dropping inside the main base. You need to be sniping off tech. It's not happening. It just didn't happen there. The reaction times from Solar was too good. The creep spread was too good, despite Clem's attempts to kill the tumors. He did kill 43 tumors, which is nice. Handled the drop inside his main base too, or the Nidus inside his main base pretty darn well too. But in the end there, 34,000 resources lost for Clem and 34,000 for Solar. And if you have even resources lost in a ZVT, it's a bad feeling. Is what it is. All right. Good stuff, man. Good stuff by both of these players. And, yeah, just Clem didn't have an answer for the Broodlords. It's just going to be Vikings, ghosts. He had ghosts, but not nearly enough of them, and not nearly enough Vikings. And Solar just did really well with his compositional choices. Just enough Corruptors to snipe off, Medevacs and Liberators and Vikings if they show up. Queen's here to transfuse the Broodlords. Had some Lings and Banelings in the mix there, too, to help snipe off these bases here at this 4th base location from Clem. And overall, just really well played. The defense was insane. Clem did not make it easy for Solar. Did not make it easy at all. He was dropping everywhere. I don't know if there's anywhere that didn't get attacked at some point by Clem, which really nice. That is how you beat a Zerg player. The response time from Solar was too good in most situations. And I guess this hatch did get sniped too, huh? So one hatchery canceled, and two hatcheries killed. Okay. All right, Clem, I'm liking what we're seeing here. I really am. And I'd like to see more from you as you keep getting better and keep improving at this game. So keep it up. But for now, and for today, that's going to be it from me. This has been Falcon Paladin coming at you with yet another edition of StarCraft 2 Legacy of the Void. Go ahead and hit that like button. Hit that subscribe if you like what you saw and what you heard today. You can also catch me on Twitter, Facebook, Patreon, and Twitch. All at /Falcon Paladin. And until next time, as always, thank you so much for watching, and you take care of yourself.